Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about something I've never seen anybody cover on YouTube, and we're going to talk about the grip angle of a Glock pistol. And I've heard people complain about this for years, and I'm one of these people to complain about it. And I'm going to compare it to a couple very common type platforms, and I'm going to tell you why I think they did it and what are some of the advantages and disadvantages to it. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to let you know all these guns have been safety checked. There's nothing in any of them, and as I pick them up, I will show you that they're not loaded. So we're going to start off with this Glock here. I'm going to show you that it's not loaded. This is a very common Glock 17. This is the very first Glock that came out around 1980, and this is what got the party started with Glocks. And what a lot of people complain about is this grip angle here. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a mathematician or anything like that, but it does have a different angle. And I've heard people say that most common grip angles on a common handgun is around 18 degrees, and Glocks are going to be 23 degrees. And a lot of people wonder if they're used to shooting or they train with a different type of weapon, a handgun, if it will hinder them if they move to a Glock, or vice versa. If they've trained with nothing but Glocks and they want to move to a different platform, will that hinder them? Well, folks, any handgun, if you train with it and you train with the same one every day, you pick another one up, you have to train with that one also. You have to get used to the feel of it. So the grip angle is the angle from the barrel straight down to the grip. And I'm going to show you, without being a mathematician, how you figure out your grip angle and what they're good for. So the common way to do it is you take your hand and you just grip the gun how you normally would. And where does your finger naturally fall? Your pointer finger here. Now it's going to be hard for me to turn around and show you this, but if you can look, I'm pointing down. See, my finger is naturally falling, pointed down when I'm going towards the trigger guard. Now if I take my hand and I move it to where my finger is straight, the gun naturally points up, the muzzle does. So what a Glock does is it naturally prints a projectile high when you're holding it in your hand because of the grip angle. And a lot of people see that as a hindrance, and they talk junk about it because they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm going to show you here in a second why it may not be such a bad thing. If you pick up a common 1911, and people praise the 1911 because of their ergonomics, the 1911 feels a lot more comfortable in your hand when you hold it, and there's no doubt about it. Nobody's going to deny this. This is one of the most ergonomic feeling handguns that there is. So when I grab this gun in a natural position and hold my finger, it is a lot more parallel to the barrel. So if you look at it, my finger, when I just naturally lay my hand on the trigger guard, it is a lot more straight in my hand than the Glock is. And that goes true with the other common gun that I have here. This is a Sig 320. I grab it in my hand in a natural position. If you can see, I just rest my hand where it naturally falls. My finger is more parallel to the barrel. So when we pick this Glock up, where it naturally falls, I'm aiming down. My finger's aiming down. So if I want to adjust my hand to where it's straight, as you can see, the Glock aims up. The muzzle's automatically going to aim high. Now, is this a bad thing? It is, but it is not. So what the Glock was designed to do would be a self-defense weapon. This was never designed to be a precision target shooting pistol, folks. I mean, nobody's going to tell you that it was. I know these people go out and build these things, put every aftermarket part in the world on them to try and make them competition guns and accurate guns, and they are pretty accurate if you learn how to shoot them and you learn how to train with them. But these are never meant to be accurate precision target guns. These were meant to be self-defense fighting weapons. They're known for their reliability, and you can get in gunfights with them. Like if you were in the military or you were a police officer or something like that, that's what this thing was meant to do, was a duty weapon. Now, what is a duty weapon handgun, a fighting weapon, what is it good for? It's close quarters defense is what a handgun is good for. So if you grab this gun and you have this, what people call a weird grip angle that's going to print high, what that's designed for is to acquire your front sight, which is the number one thing you need to learn when you're shooting handguns at short distances. All people focus too much on aligning the sights up here. That doesn't work, folks, in a self-defense situation when you're in distress. First thing you need to do is pick up that front sight and acquire the front sight and shoot very quickly when you're in a distress situation. So when you have this Glock and it naturally has the slide up high, it gives you a first focal plane view of the front sight to acquire the target on the front sight and pull the trigger very quickly. And it's no different than shooting with one of these new improved, technologically advanced red dots. When you put a red dot on top of a pistol, all you're going to do is acquire the dot and shoot. Now, can you sit there and focus and make very precise shots with it? Yeah, you can do that. But when you're under distress and you need to put a shot on target at a very close quarters, every single person that trains will tell you, pick up the front sight, acquire the target and shoot. And if you have a higher first focal plane view of it, it makes it a lot easier. So Glock actually is pretty inventive when it comes to that. Now, does it feel a little bit weird when you're holding other guns in your hands? It does. It feels a lot different than maybe a 1911. A 1911 is more ergonomic and more comfortable to hold in your hand, but that's not what this was designed to do. This was designed to be a duty weapon defense at short quarters, close quarters. So when I hold this in my hand, you see my finger down like this. If I was to straighten this out, now this is a little extreme what I'm showing you. Nobody's going to go aiming a gun this high, but it makes it easier. When I point this thing, I can see the front sight a lot quicker. Now with a 1911 is going to be a lot more accurate, precise target shooting gun, and these were fighting guns when they came out in 1911. But you know, it requires a little bit of sight alignment because the grip angle on this thing is more parallel to your trigger finger, and you're going to be naturally aiming this one lower than you would a Glock pistol when you hold it in your hand, just because of the way the grip's designed. And the same goes with the majority of the handguns on the market. And like I said, I brought this Sig P320 out here because this is one of the most common ones. This platform is one of the most common ones out on the market right now, and it has more of a 1911 feel in it. It's a lot more comfortable in your hand, and it has different grip angle than the Glock. So people's always complained about this grip angle on these Glocks, and I've been one of these people. It just feels really, really odd, but it's actually a really good move on Glock's part, because what they designed this pistol for, they actually made it better than the average handgun at close quarters combat. And I say combat very loosely. Nobody's getting in combat with the handgun, but if you had to, this is a really good thing to have. Now, when you start switching between handguns, between Glocks and 1911s, you're going to have a very different feel when you pick the gun up, and that just comes from training, folks. Muscle memory is everything. You just need to learn your weapon, learn your situation, and train with it, and it shouldn't be a problem at all. But if you were using this just for target shooting, you are going to have to adjust, and you have to point down. The gun's going to have to point down in your hand for it to print the same as a 1911 or like a Sig 320 or an M&P or something like that would on paper. And it's just part of training, folks. But I don't think anybody's ever discussed the grip angles on a Glock versus the other platforms. And I figured I would do my best to do this, to cover this today on this video. If anybody has any questions about this, feel free to ask. I'm not an expert on grip angles on firearms or how to shoot them, and I'm surely not a Glock or 1911 expert at all. I just wanted to show you the ones between a Glock 17, a Sig 320, how it gets held in your hand, and a common 1911. I wanted to show you the different grip angles. But anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.